Welcome, welcome.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Welcome to Morning Startup. That's what this is, isn't it?
Yeah,
Morning Startup. Ah, I love the energy. Who hasn't been to Morning Startup before? Hey, quite a few of you. Welcome. Thanks for coming. Getting up so early, especially in, when it's dark and cold and
Very
horrendous.
cold.
So we are all startup founders, myself, the lovely Nina here, Erin, and Dave. We organise Morning Startup because we want to network with other founders, learn from you guys. We're all going through crap every single day, and this is kind of our therapy session. So we try and organise an awesome speaker to tell us some awesome stuff that we need to know as startup founders, and that's why Morning Startup exists.
Yeah, rain, hail or shine, every second Wednesday we're going to be here, and we're going to have founders, usually founders, talking about their experiences and sort of giving us lessons about how to be better at our startup.
And every now and then we do a pitch night,
Yes.
or pitch morning as well. So got one of those coming up, I think, next month. So if you're interested, 3-minute pitch. Anyway, we'll have more info on that at some point in time. But first of all, shameless plugs and announcements. So this is your opportunity to get up, give a 30-second pitch about what you're working on, something you're interested in, rant, whatever. I know we've got one here with a slide and everything. It doesn't have to be this professional.
Yes.
Go for it, Peter.
Yeah. Hi. Look, this is very exciting because 2 weeks ago I told you last Wednesday we actually ran this event. This is from United Nations, and actually it's an international event. And thanks to Mesh Points, actually. So thanks to basically the WA, Department of Economic
Energy
and economic diversification and actually investment and trade. So it's their branch, and City of Perth, we were able to bring this to Perth for the second time. So we had, nationally, we had 36 startups actually competing. Our judges, led by our illustrious Charlie Gunningham, our chief judge, chose 5. And out of that 5, on the night, there was actually a company from Geelong, Victoria, that won. So we had 2 from Victoria, 1 from New South Wales, and 2 from Western Australia. And the one from Geelong, Enterprise Monkey. Yeah, so now we're taking them to Europe. So they're going to Switzerland, and months from now, beginning of July, 7 to 10, there is a giant annual event called AI for Good Startup run by United Nations, and they're going to be competing against other basically teams from all over the world. So what is fantastic that we are able to bring this to Perth, so everybody has to actually go through Perth this time, so which is great. So when we come back, we run 29th of July, we're going to run an event called AI for Good, Innovation Factory Australia, back from Geneva. That's the title. So put in your calendars during the day, 1:30 to 4 o'clock. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Woo. Thanks, Peter.
That sounds so exciting.
And that's on Eventbrite, right? So go and register. Eventbrite somewhere.
It will be. No,
Yeah.
It will be on Eventbrite, not yet. But
Okay. Awesome. Any other shameless plugs? Got a couple? Cool.
Morning, everybody. My name's Mark Chang. I'm from Xperia Growth, a startup who is here to help other startups. You're getting advance notice of an event that we're going to be running on Friday, the 3rd of July, which is called Using Non-Coding AI Can Easily Kill Your Startup. There will be speakers from MPH lawyers who will explain some of the horror stories about using AI to create things like shareholder agreements or customer sales things. There will be Mark Thompson from BDO who will explain why using it to create your research and development tax incentive things may not necessarily be the best idea. We also have Stefan from IIP Lawyers who will probably open your eyes about how quickly asking an AI a question about your idea can kill your patent. Xperia Growth will be there. We know that all founders are going to use it. We're going to share our experience of actually using non-coding AI. And finally, we'll have Bright Chi, who is quite often here but is not here today, who will explain very briefly how to set up skill files to address the issue of AI's forgetting your context. Friday the 3rd of July, the event's not up yet, but keep an eye out on LinkedIn.
Where's it going to be, Mark?
It's going to be here at BDO in Perth.
Awesome. Sounds like a good event.
Do we have more? Yes.
Patrick.
We have Patrick.
Hi there, my name's Patrick. I'm from Chekong. We help startups scale their development teams through our offshore development house in Nepal. So I'm not even going to mention AI because that's just standard now, so everyone's doing it. So we can work twice, 10 times, 100 times faster than anyone else apparently. So come and have a chat.
With actual developers that know what they're doing at the same time. Yeah, it's good. Good combo.
Do we have more?
Any more shameless plugs?
Shameless?
Announcements?
You could talk about your startup very quickly.
No?
No? Okay.
Fine. All right.
No worries.
Bon. So we'll have about half an hour of networking after this as well. We can get to know each other and enjoy the food. Thank you, Peter. Another shameless plug, the WA Innovation Ecosystem. If you want to scan this QR code to share 7 minutes of your time, you can win a gift voucher. But it's our way of feeding back to Mesh Points and Startup WA and all those folks about what we need here in WA. So please take a moment to fill out that survey. That would be awesome. A few more phones.
You took $100.
And put it up at the end
maybe.
too. You coming tonight?
Yes, tonight. I see you at the other side of nowhere, West Leaderville. We'll have pizza. It's gonna be really fun. It's a really good vibe, and we just like chill, network, and talk about our startups.
Absolutely, yeah. Come along. Pizza's free. Buy your own drinks. But love to see you there. We are live streaming. Thanks to the wonderful folks at perthvideo.com.au. Head to /morningstarterperth if you want to check out this stream. What else do they do?
They do a lot of things. They basically can film all kinds of events, interviews as well. Like, look, in the age of AI, I've said this before, but really, like, you really need authentic videos, and you need to just push through all the slop, and Perth Video will be there to help you.
That's a really good way of putting it. Push through the slop, get Perth Video. Cool. They're not doing this for free. They used to, and we thank them very, very much for all of the time that they streamed Morning Startup on their own backs. But the Department of Energy and Economic Diversification have now jumped in and are helping with the live stream costs. So thank you very much to Deed. If you haven't heard, this is our state government that can give you grants. They've got the Innovation Booster Grant, Commercialisation Bridge Grant, give you money to get your idea out in the world, bunch of awards, innovation hubs. We've got a thing called Deal Room where you can put up information about your startup, as much or as little information as you like, and it helps circulate what's happening here in the WA ecosystem, so get on it.
It's going to help a lot.
Cool. Besides that, we give out coffee and food and stuff, and we've got some wonderful companies that we'd just like to tell you about that are helping us do that. The first of which is Purpose Ventures. Who needs money? Who's got like a venture capital fundable business? This fine gentleman. You'll hear all about it in a moment. But yeah, Purpose Ventures are awesome. They help a lot of WA-focused companies and companies all over Australia, I think. But yeah, if you need venture funding, please make sure you're getting in front of Purpose Ventures. And if you've got a coffee, you are now venture funded.
And we do have videos of Derek basically telling us how to actually win them over, and he has a lot of really good tips, and we have that video in our past videos, so you should have a look.
Yeah, on the Morning Startup Perth video. Beecham, where's Glenn? There he is. G'day, mate. What do you think? So Glenn runs a recruitment company here in Perth. If you need talent or you have talent, get in touch with this man. He can help you out.
All right, I'll be 1 minute. I'll talk about reference checks. So firstly, when you're hiring, do you make it mandatory to do reference checks at all or not? I have to stand in front? I've never had to stand in front. Never.
Doesn't the camera swing?
That's my spot. It's Glenn's spot. All right. I'll stand there. This young man. I know his parents too, and they ask me how he is, and I'd say Scott's fine. I see him every fortnight. No, they're pretty good. They're pretty good. Yeah. Phil and I are like this. That's Scott's dad, by the way. So yeah. His knee's fine. In joke, sorry. All right, very quickly, reference checks. When you're hiring, does everyone do them? Yes or no? Quick show of hands. Perfect, okay. Does everyone do it properly, or they do it as a perfunctory, let me have a chat, hey, do you know this guy Scott, is he any good? 50-50, yep, 100%. So what's happening now, and Paddy used the magic word of AI because it seems to be on everyone's lips as it is. For God's sakes, that's my very strong word, please don't outsource doing your reference checks to AI. Old school, for God's sakes, please. That's my very big please. Do it properly, do it because you mean it. It is an absolutely critical part of your hiring process. Don't let yourself down. More importantly, don't let the person down that you're about to hire down to by not doing a proper reference check as well too, right? And if you can, do that face to face, buy the person a cup of coffee, or do it as a video conference interview if you have to, or failing that, do it as a phone call, but do it properly with proper questions, listen to the tells, watch out for patterns, because that's what it's all about. That's me.
Great tips. Yeah. Nice. Thanks, Glenn.
Hi,
Go back
Alex.
to your spot.
I really thought he's going to talk about an AI startup that can help us to do it. I was like, yes.
All right. So I've got to run through these, but we've got some food at the back, and that's thanks to two awesome companies. Typeset, we've got Sarah here. Where is she? Hey, there you are, right down the front. Cool. So if you need to help communicate what your business does, get the word out, get some awesome copy, but not just that, the whole strategy, like who are you speaking to? Why are you speaking to them? Why does it matter? They can help you out with all of that stuff. They are awesome. They've got a good team all around the world.
Yeah, and Typeset also helps a lot with like processes and systems and like creating content, not just like content, but strategy to create content. And I think that's really important. Awards as well. Like if you are writing an award application with AI, that's great, but everyone else is doing the same thing. So Typeset can really help you stand out.
Yep. Stand out. Use Typeset. Get on them. Thank you for your contribution, Morning Startup, and helping us with the food. We also have Idea to Life. Is Zach here in the room? Hey, good to meet you, Zach. Been like sharing lots of emails, but I don't think we've met face to face. So, Idea to Life. Who's making physical products, like real products in the real world? Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So they are an industrial design and company. There's a parent company, Adash. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But yeah, they can help you through all of these phases, industrial prototyping to full-scale manufacturing. So please get around and go and have a chat with Zach if you're in that space and how they can help you. Thank you very much for also helping us with the food and the pizzas at Founder Sundowner tonight. Cheers.
And I talk a lot about AI, but like in the age of AI, physical products is the way to differentiate yourself.
And we have Space Cubed where we are here today. They've got Riff Flux Fern down the road. If you need to work, make sure you're doing it here. It's awesome. Subscribe to Startup News, become a member of Startup WA, and check out the +8 Accelerator to learn how to be a better entrepreneur.
New logo.
Yeah.
Yes, new logo.
New look.
I just got that in today. Woo. Head to wainnovationecosystem.info or scan the QR code. There's a little chat bot you can talk to. And yes, please check the QR code. Thanks, Sarah, for telling me last week it was busted, but that should work now, I think. Yes.
Yeah,
They will guide you to these awesome programs.
All there to accelerate you.
Yeah. So if you're in ag tech, throw in your in ag tech and it'll take you to the right accelerator and or program that can help you in WA. It's a really, really good resource. Thank you, Meshpoints, for putting it together. Get in touch with us. We're Morning Startup and all the things.
Go on Slack, start a conversation, engage everyone, because we're doing our best.
In fact, can anyone test that QR code still works? I put it together 100 years ago, so hopefully it is still working. Thanks, Sarah. They should invite you into our Slack group, and we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah.
If you want to do a talk one day, you got something interesting that startups need to know, let us know. I'm looking forward to this one in 2 weeks' time.
This is going to be really fun. This guy right here is going to bring a guitar, and a guitar is going to play something, and he's not going to even touch it. And also, he has demoed his guitar for Jeff Bezos. You have to be there.
It's amazing. He's got some really cool content up on YouTube and stuff as well. But yeah, he's going to be talking more about he's built this crazy thing. There's no no one's Googling for a self-playing guitar. So how do you get that out? You know, what's the market for that? So yeah, he's going to talk about selling a product that doesn't even have a category.
How do you get to the Jeff Bezoses of the world? How?
Yeah. It's like an art installation, instrument thing. It's, yeah, anyway, that's going to be a really cool talk. So please come along in 2 weeks' time. And that's our formalities out of the way. You just got that.
It takes a while. Yeah.
Does anyone else need an explainer on formalities?
It's a joke.
All right, well, that's enough for us. I think you're here to hear from the very awesome Drew. He's been a Morning Startup regular since probably the very beginning. This is his second talk at Morning Startup. I just want to tell you, the first time he did a talk was probably 2016, 2017 era. It was on Bitcoin at the time. I just remember you had like a chunk of change, like coins, and you just started your presentation going, see this fucking, you threw it all over the room. That was awesome. So I'm hoping we get that same energy today. It's just a little bar to live up to. Anyway, he's starting a new company called SavvyWise. He's going through, he's grinding it out right now, and we're going to hear all about it. So please make him welcome, Drew.
G, Gnor, it's time. Come up here, mate. Can we get a browser up? Can you go to a couple pages? We would have done this in prep, but my son decided to have a sleeping day, the only time he ever does it, so we were running late. Thanks, Gnor.
The internet's been a bit wacky this morning, so
We'll see if it works, yeah. Can you open up two browsers? One for that, one for that. Yeah, thank you very much, Scott. While we're waiting for Scott, let's re-energise the room. Let's stand up. Everyone stand up. Let's re-energise the room. Here we go. Okay, you'll lose. I didn't say Simon, it says stand up. Hands above your head. Okay, bring them together, apart, together, apart. Go quicker, go quicker. Let's go, let's go. Standing ovation to begin with. Woo! Thank you very much. Yeah, I'll end up logging in. I'll log in, mate. Okay, here we go. Which one did you go to? The first one or the second one? The first one. I'll show everyone my password. It's okay. I will change it. I changed my password. And it's got number 3 in it. Because it's actually my third talk.
Is it?
Yeah, forgot number 2. That's all right. So just to begin with, what we're seeing here is the expression of interest dashboard for SavvyWise. So we're actually right now in the process of doing equity crowdfunding as we speak. We've finished our expression of interest stage, but I thought we'll give you a live look at how it all comes together. So when we started our equity crowdfunding, here we are on the 5th of May, basically we blasted out to all our network, hey, we're doing equity crowdfunding. We started the ad campaign on Meta. In the lead up to it, I was actually in here doing a whole bunch of filmings because we had to do a hero video. We actually took this area here, and the lovely Bree from Space Cube came and did a pretend host on a podcast for us for some of the advertising. So as we were going through the expression of interest stage, it ran for like 3 weeks. We had interest come in, and we were actually quite well off in terms of the consistency. On Market was the platform we used, and the expression of interest was getting around about 200 grand of interest every single day, to the point where we ended up at the midpoint of just shy of $5 million of expressed interest, which for us was pretty much exactly where we needed it to be, because we're aiming to raise just shy of 2.4 million, and you don't convert everyone out of that almost 5 million. Why is that? Some reason, some people just get lazy and they don't come back. Some people, they end up saying they're going to invest 100 grand when they actually meant to say $1,000. It does work the other way around, but unfortunately, not as much as you want. So generally, when we were talking with on-market, and early on we were getting good interest, and we're like, okay, well, how much is this going to convert? They told us it ranges from 15% to 50%. That's a big margin. So we're hopefully going to get it closer to that 50%. And later on, if I've got enough time, I'll bring up the dashboard and show the actual amounts that we've raised to date. So let's switch over to the slide deck, and I can go through that. Other than yesterday finding 10 minutes of time to just sort of hash out what I was going to talk about in a sort of chronological order of how events have unfolded, I just put that in a Word document, then went to everyone's good new mate, Claude, and just went, I need to do a presentation at Morning Startup. This is what I'm going to talk about. Here's my brand guidelines. Make me PowerPoint deck, and here it is. We've done an okay job. I don't know where it got this logo from, but anyway. So, yeah, I'm Drew Pflaum. I'm the co-founder and CEO of SavvyWise. We are AI for tax research. You might recall I was up here. Can I count the pitch practice as another presentation as well? I was up here, standing up here in August last year, doing pitch practice. Took away the 400 grand of checks that day. I'm still waiting to cash them in, Scott. So, SavvyWise, as I said, AI for tax research. So I'm an accountant. Tax is a bloody nightmare. Then the budget came along and it's making it even worse. There's a massive shortage of accountants out there. Everyone needs really good quality tax advice, especially businesses. So we're here to help accountants get through the work quicker with more affordable, faster advice. I was sitting about there in late March last year, and Ags, my now co-founder, sat right there next to me. And we met at Morning Startup. Just afterwards, I said, hey, I know about this problem, and Ags, man, unbelievable. Got into Perth in January or February that year and just started networking like crazy, come down to events. He was already talking with Venture, that's at UWA, about their incubator program and going in there with some ideas. And we met up for coffee the next day, and a few weeks later I convinced Ags, ditch your idea, mate, my idea's way better. But let's partner up together. And then Ags convinced Venture to switch over his idea into SavvyWise, because I'm not a UWA alumni, I'm from Curtin, but it convinced him. I said, Ags, just say it's your idea and you've found a co-founder instead of the other way around, so haha to them. We tricked them. So yeah, we met here, and where should I begin with, I've gone through that. I'm going too quick for my slides, I've got to remember to click them through. So yeah, founder, met, this is a great place, unbelievable. I've been coming here since like 2016, I think, when we're all the way back there. Some of the names that were set up here throughout the beginning is like, oh yeah, we've used them, or we plan to use them, or we've already spoken to Michelle about using Typeset. So the community is fantastic, and there's no way SavvyWise would be as successful as it is now without Morning Startup. So I think just a big hands, claps for Morning Startup and the presentations and everything. It's fantastic. So, we've got a, oh yeah, here we go. So we were sitting here, and just as Ags and I were thinking about starting the business, the +8 people were here talking about, come and apply for the cohort for next year. And we were just basically in idea stage, and we were like, they said, everyone should apply, so we applied, and then they rejected us. Unbelievable. But really a blessing in disguise, because if they'd accepted us, it would have been way too early for us. I needed to, work out, am I going to give away my job at an accounting firm? I was a director there, so I was on very good coin, very stable income. I've got to convince the wife that, I'm basically going to go to not earning anything. We've got to sell some properties to fund fund the investments, and then I've got to get through the refinancing with the bank before I drop off and don't have any income, otherwise I won't meet their criteria. So it was a big, huge exercise, and everything takes so much longer than you expect it to. So by July is when we officially got started with SavvyWise. Yep, there goes that. Oh yeah, here we go. So, all right. During this process, Tekken hold a podcast, and they have Lee Goldsworthy on there. I think it was your very first episode, which was just so CTO. And the reason why I put this up there is because I had the idea originally, but ideas are worthless, and I'm starting a business with Ags, and we got to think about, okay, well, what percentage ownership do we split? And so I'm calming, I've got my domain expertise, I've got a whole bunch of marketing and sales expertise, but Ags has got all the tech expertise. But I'm fortunate enough, I'm the grey haired man, and Ags is the young stallion. So Ags actually doesn't have a huge amount of wealth behind him, so he needs to take some money from the business. I've got to pay him, right? And so I'm putting more money in. How do we split the ownership fairly? So Lee, during this podcast, he mentions that if you're bringing in a CTO in especially early days as a co-founder, make sure you don't give them a token amount of equity. Don't give them 5%. And so Lee says in there, if I remember correctly, it's got to be at least 20%. So flags out. It's got to be at least 20%. So that's where me and Ags just started talking about it. It was like, okay, where do we start in terms of ownership? And it was starting, okay, I'm putting a whole bunch of money in, 80-20. That sounds reasonable. And then I don't know, I can't remember how many weeks later it was, but a few weeks later, I went to Ags and said, Ags, I'm not feeling that 80-20 is the right split. I feel like I'm getting way too much. And how did I come to that conclusion? Well, I was thinking, okay, well, if we start a business, we start it at 50-50. And let's just say neither of us had the money, and we were going to get an angel investor to come in and put in the angel amount. So effectively, I went, okay, look, if I independently looked at this and I was the hypothetical angel coming in, what percentage would I end up with, and then how would it dilute us separately to work out the percentages? So I remember during the conversation, I said to Ags, how about 65-35? And you know what, this is when I definitely knew I had the best business partner. Ags tells me, no, you're being way too generous. I can't take that. So Ags, I think, was saying to me 75-25, and I was like, no, you're being too generous. So at that time, we decided, okay, it'll be 70%, 30%. So this is how negotiations happen in real life. So I don't forget, I'll go ahead a bit forward. We went to when did we do this one? I think it was our first investment round that we did in January, February this year, where we raised 680 grand at a 10 mil valuation. And leading into that, I, through the months, was like, I'm still feeling a little bit uncomfortable. I feel like I've got more than what I deserve, even though I put in 250 grand as that angel investor. So I said, Ags, look, when we're bringing in these new investors, I'm going to make sure you don't dilute. So I actually gave Ags a bit more, so it would be more like it was originally 1/3, 2/3. So that you can make adjustments along the way, but you got to plan these things out. Have I missed anything? Yeah, negotiations, blah, blah, blah. By the way, if you've got any questions throughout, just throw them at me. So where are we up to? Validations, yeah. So, begin with, we've got an idea. I know the problem, but, am I biased? How am I thinking? What are other people thinking? So we do the right thing that you learn from just coming to morning startups for years and years and watching the videos, the great people at Perth Video have up online, make sure you do validation. So the mum test was mentioned as a validation tool very recently. And it was actually mentioned to us, and so we followed that, just went out, used my network. So one of the benefits of like starting a startup now for me is just a bit further in my career, and I've got a wide network. I know people to go and speak to. I'm a CPA, director of an accounting firm. Doors are open, can easily have conversations with people. So we went in and just started asking the questions, trying to get the validation, are we onto something? And a lot of the times those validations for us was just, we're hearing exactly what we're thinking, which was validation in itself. And every once in a while you get a golden nugget to go through. So very important to do that. Definitely, this is where people waste a whole bunch of money, is they do not properly validate their idea, and then they don't precisely go down and we're solving this one issue. We have a way grander vision of what SavvyWise can be. Way more than just AI for tax research. But we were like, let's begin, like you're meant to, with a startup, very niche problem. We know exactly who we're serving. We know exactly what the problem is. We know exactly where the market is. It makes life so much easier. Start small, you can expand later. Like I always look at Amazon. Amazon started small, online bookstore, boom, it's huge now. Start small. Pitched here. This isn't only about pitching. This is Claude not really getting the point that I was trying to make, which was you've got to continue to show up all over the place. So I started posting on LinkedIn every day. I'm getting in front of the camera. I'm just like going, whatever, like just get in front of it. Who cares if you make mistakes? Most people aren't paying attention anyway. So LinkedIn, in person, talk to people in person. Man, go to every meeting you possibly can. If someone's willing enough to accept the coffee and have a chat, go do that. I got that advice from some great business leader over the years, was just like go to every, if you can go to a meeting, go to a meeting. Obviously you got to also juggle it with your priorities. Don't take it 100% seriously, but yeah, there's opportunities all over the place. Back at my career at Munro's, I was having discussions with people in around 2018, I was discussing with a couple of clients, and it took me until 2020 to convert these people into clients. Things can take a while, and to give you an idea of the value, in that just one example, those two people, separate people that I was speaking with, that took about 2-3 years to finally convert into clients, ended up being some of the biggest individual invoices Munro's has ever done. Things take a long time. As an example, I've been seeing Glenn here at Morning Startup give recruitment tips for years now. I've never used Glenn, but when we need someone, I'm going to Glenn because he's always showed up, been very consistent. So that's what you've got to do. You've got to do that from getting the right team members around you, getting the right reputation in the market, all of this. I think I nailed that part. So we're building out the MVP, and as we all do, we go and we think, we're going to have this out in 2 weeks. And 2 weeks later, Hags is like, it'll be ready in a week. 3 weeks later, it'll be ready in a week. We always over-predict what we're going to be able to achieve. So we're trying to get the MVP out, obviously, as quickly as possible. And what we know now with the AI technology, we could definitely do it even quicker. But we had an interesting part where we were trying to solve the issue of getting the MVP out early, and I don't really know what the technical issue was, but we had some issue around the embedding, if I remember correctly. That was going to delay us getting our MVP. And it was in that moment of having that, and then I ended up having a shower thought, and I said, Ags, why don't we try this? So the Ags, unbelievable, he worked, pulls an all-nighter, meet up the next day, he's like, how's this? And I'm like, that's close, but not quite there. He's like, I'll tweak it. Next day, I'm testing early SavvyWise. I'm like, man, this is good. This is this is good enough. Bang, straight on the phone. I'm arranging meetings. I'm meeting with accountants the next day, type of thing. My lessons there were probably should have thought about that idea even earlier. You know, we're just so stuck in the weeds, we kind of didn't even realise, oh shit, there's this bloody easy way to get the MVP out early. So it's, you know, that strategic thought and stuff, sometimes you need to remove yourself from doing the work to see those things. But good thing was, as soon as it was ready, we got it into the hands of accountants. And then, so we got it into the hands of accountants. They started using it. This was late September last year. 1 month later, I booked to go in and see the accountants that had been using it to get feedback. And I remember I was taking the train up, and then I was walking along to a cafe, Little Henry's, to go speak with Kieran, one of our users, who Kieran, by the way, I got connected with through Space Cubes. We were part of Space Cubes' founder program, and they helped us connect up with Kieran, so another great reason to be here. So as I'm walking, I'm like, oh, I've got to ask Kieran for some money. What can I ask? You know, okay, maybe I'll ask like $600 for it. And as I'm walking along, I'm bugger this. I'll ask for $1,000. Why not? Like, you know, start high. You can work your way back. We get there, we're talking. I'm like, oh, Kieran, like, you know, would you pay $1,000 for this? So this is like a yearly subscription. He's just a sole practitioner accountant. And he's like, yeah, man. Like the other day I used it for research. It would have taken me over an hour. It took me 5 minutes, man. So I was thinking like $100 a month. I was like, fuck. Left $200 on the table. So I'm walking away, and I'm messaging Alex. I'm like, man, we've done it. We got a sale. Woo! And best customer ever. Literally, bang! I got a notification that the money was in our bank account even before I got in the Uber. Like, so that was unreal. But I told Ags that Kieran said $100 a month. Man, Ags, he changed the website like that. He changed the price straight away. So you learn and you make changes as soon as you can. And that's what we've all been about, the iterating fast. And the MVP part I also want to talk about is, like, we have a saying at SavvyWise, which is 70% and ship it. I think we might have stolen it from Jeff Bezos. But it's a great thing. It's basically MVP it. Everything, every idea, we're like, let's MVP it, get it out to users as quickly as possible. So it was demoing. As I said, face-to-face is the best way, but you know, we are across Australia, so you don't have to just do face-to-face, Teams, Zooms, whatever. Just willing to jump on the phone, have a chat with people, and importantly, ask for money early on. But early on with confidence. You know, confidence, like I had real big confidence that we were developing something that was awesome. It wasn't necessarily awesome at the beginning with its MVP, it was just good enough, but I was really confident. And Nitin, who's in our team, at the previous place he worked, they had salespeople, and Nitin, I know he told me the story, he asked one of the salespeople, like, how do you do it? He says, you kind of got to be, what's the saying, Nitin? You got to be slightly delusional. Like, I'm slightly delusional that we are the freaking best, okay? We are, but I'm also slightly delusional in that, like, I'm like, man, we are the freaking best. Because it resonates and people catch on and they just believe what they see. And that's by, you know, cold emails, cold calls, webinars. I did a heap of webinars. Ask for introductions to people. You talk to someone, say, oh, okay, do you know someone with this problem? There's a huge amount of things that you can do, and you don't even need much money for that. That's just grit. So we did the Venture Incubator program. For us, the best things about these programs have been deadlines for us. Like, we had a pitch day to do, and we were like, oh, we want to stand up there and say we've got a whole bunch of money, so it really forced us to go out and ask for money, and that's actually what forced me to go and have that coffee meeting at Little Henry's. Was, fuck, man, we've got pitch practice in 2 weeks. I want to stand up and say we've got money, and then start asking for money. So I did that first week. We made 26 grand in sales. I was like, okay, I think we're onto something. Let's put this into marketing, put it into marketing. I was thinking like LinkedIn or cold emails, that might work. You know what work well, even though I'm selling to accountants? Meta. Like, unbelievably well. so much. Like they've got so much money off us, but the ROI is there. So you got to like test your hypothesis. And at the beginning, I would have been like, Meta won't work, but it's been the absolute best. Deadlines, money into marketing, and founder-led sales. I think that was an initial process of just me going out there, being energetic, selling, just randomly having ideas. I remember Ags and I on pitch day hadn't even practiced the pitch that much, and a VC was in town, and we're like, let's go have a chat with the VC. So we went and had a chat with the VC, and then I was driving back home, and I was thinking, oh man, like we need to get more sales. I'll just put an email blast out to all our database saying, flash sale. It worked. Got a whole bunch of sales. In fact, there's an accountant just down the road here. I remember demoing the product to him, and I was thinking, he won't buy. He's way too conservative. Man, the flash sale worked on him. He was like, man, I need to get this. Another accountant rang me up almost like 10 minutes after I sent that out, and was like, what is this? Okay, yeah, I'll buy. So we got like another, I can't remember what it was, 20 grand or something, heading into the pitch night that evening. So that was a real boost to talk about. So we did the venture program, and I'll skip ahead to this slide. Basically, we won the venture program, but right before we won the pitch night, we had lodged an application to pitch at West Tech Fest, and we got rejected. We got that notice like 2 hours before winning the venture, and guess what you won as part of winning venture? You got the pitch at West Tech Fest. So all in the space of like 3 hours, we got rejected, and then they had to accept us. So during this stage, we're doing all this, we're making sales, things are going pretty well, and then we're starting discussions with VCs, right? Because we want to raise some money. What do? You go out and raise money from VCs, and so that was an interesting process, because I found that what VCs say when they're up here and what they say in the closed doors are wildly different. And it also depends on like what time you get the fund. Like there was one fund that we knew that had invested into another startup in the accounting space, not directly a competitor to ours. They invested into a startup that was pre-revenue at a $10 million valuation. And we were like, man, we've got revenue. We're at least $10 million valuation. So we went to them and they were like, like we were looking for this, but we've actually taken most of our bets with our fund for the pre-revenue stage. So now we're just deploying capital into a bit further down the track. So sometimes it's just about timing. But basically, leading up into the VC discussions, me and Ags were like, we want to be in a position of strength. We don't want to have to be like begging for money. We want to have enough money and just only take the money if there's a right partner. So through this process, we had a VC give us a term sheet for a $2 million investment at an $8 million pre-money valuation, so basically the 10 mil post-money. But with that, they're going to get all their preferential conditions. It's still not guaranteed until you go through due diligence. That's going to take a couple of months. They've got to do the due diligence on us. We've got to do it on them. We're thinking, man, this is all just going to take so much time. And the big thing was, it's just distracting us from what we need to do, which is just deliver great products to our customers. So basically, me and Ags just made the decision, stuff this. We've got enough money. I reckon I can go raise enough money from family and friends. Let's do that. So family and friends also extended to some of our suppliers and customers. So we got accountants on board as investors, which was a great signal for us. Even some accountants who weren't even using SavvyWise yet. Like I couldn't convince them to use SavvyWise, but they came on board as investors. You're like, why is that? It's because like the larger accounting firm you are, the more heads are on the table and making the decisions. And so you got some accountants that are in there going, I love this, I want this, and you got others going, this person over here is a bit loony, like loves to buy everything, let's not buy it so quickly. So one of our meetings we had, Aches and I had with an accountant, we were like, man, they're going to be our first customer. It took until like 2 weeks ago to finally land them. But we got them in the end. Woo! And they've invested and become a strategic partner, so that's wicked. One thing I need to touch upon is with our pricing at the beginning. We had a shitty product. It was an MVP. So I was like, I'm asking for a lot of money, but is the value necessarily there? No. People are taking a big risk on us by being one of our customers early, because we might die the next day and then they don't even have a product. And we're asking them to pay for a full year up front. So instead of saying, I'll give you like 50% off, which would be beneficial for them, but it would be detrimental for us from a cash flow perspective because we want the money, we went and said, you know what? Buy 1 year, we'll give you a couple of years for free. Okay? It's the same as saying, we'll give you like 66% off, which you can do. And hey, it's 66% off whatever price I chose it to begin with. And you just go there with confidence saying, this is the price. And what worked well for me was Kieran told me $100 a month. So I just went to other accountants and said, well, Kieran told me $100 a month. I didn't come up with the price, he said it. So we did very much importantly think about our pricing, and to protect the cash flow, this is how we structured the initial deal and sold it and got people on board. So I think about this very much when you're pricing things, because you've got to protect a lot of things that are happening. VC term sheet, I touched upon that. Family and friends around, I touched upon that. Go on. Okay, so yeah. We raised the money, I go out. Basically, I was speaking with our lawyer. He's just like, man, keep things dead simple, ordinary shares. You got the valuation, just go out, ask people. You've got to know that in the Corporations Act, you can only accept 20 investors who aren't sophisticated. So if they don't have a sophisticated investor certificate, you can only accept 20 of them in total over a 12-month period, and can only raise 2 million from them. That 2 million was no problem because we weren't intending to raise that much, because we also were like, we don't want to dilute ourselves too much. We don't want to give up too much equity. We want just enough. There's that point, and the second point is having too much money early is a problem because you haven't learned the skills of how to deploy that money. So we set out to raise just enough. We thought, okay, if we're raising, we're going to do at least 250 grand, because otherwise just the cost and the hassle isn't worth it, but we'll go up to 500. We ended up having 680 grand people come on board, and we're like, okay, well, we'll go oversubscribe because that people are willing to back us in, let's do that. So we did that, and then, as I was finishing off all that, and Jesus Christ, man, the legals and everything, it takes longer. Like, I had people committed in January, but it took until basically the end of February to finally have everything signed off, even though I was telling everyone, you got to tell me, you got to have it done by the 31st of January. There's always 1 or 2 people who take like 3 weeks longer, so keep that in mind. But as soon as I knew we had the money, bang, I started deploying it myself. I hired Nitin over here, I hired Pete over there. So the BD team rapidly went from just like me to a few, and we started talking with our marketing agency and planning out things. And meanwhile, Ags was like, what just happened in these last 2 weeks? I'm just by myself. I didn't realize you were going to expand so quickly, because the BD team, by the time we were ready, we were like, hey, product people, you got our features yet? We want to start selling. So we realized there's actually a sync issue that happened. So we got Nitin, who just like came on board to basically be the jack of all trades, do whatever I didn't want to do, was the original idea. And then we spotted, Ags and I, we separate sometimes in where we're planning to go. That's just a natural thing of diverging. We need to converge and make sure we don't diverge too much. So we gave Nitin the ownership of keeping us together, which he's been doing a great job at. So just one evening, I decided to up his position to COO. I said, man, you got a promotion. Good on you. Don't expect a pay rise. In fact, take a pay cut. Here's some employee shares. So yeah, build quickly, but yeah, try and keep in sync. So big thing for us was, and I know this was a hard thing for Ags to understand, was we raised all this money, and I said, I'm putting pretty much all this money into marketing and sales. And Ags was like, I need the money, I want it for tech. And I'm like, no, mate. You make the sales first, you build the technology afterwards. which I know was very hard to understand. So basically, we spent most of the early money on marketing and branding. And we were like, we're going for this really quickly. We want to become $1 billion company in a couple of years. So we worked with our marketing agency to get the branding in place. I spent a huge amount of money on some conferences that we went to. In terms of converting all those leads into sales, a way longer payback period than expected. But the big thing for us was, if we're doing this, let's go 100 miles an hour and let's make sure everyone knows we're the big one. And we just sort of looked at Xero as a success path. Xero, the bookkeeping software, came along and dislodged the incumbent Mild, not necessarily because they had the best product, but they were just sensational at marketing. So at the conference, we were at the front with Xero next to us, with QuickBooks next to us, with all the big players. Everyone's looking at SavvyWise going, holy cow, how have you guys become so successful so quickly? They don't know that we're not that successful, but we were, in a way. You know, it depends how you look at it. But all our competitors were like down the back in these like small little cubicles. So yeah, you know, the perception, the branding is very important. So that's all really helped, right? So we have actually started to make sales. We went from about 40 firms that were on board at the end of the last year to about 60 towards the end of March. And then we go, all right, we want to raise some more money. We want to start to build out AI accounting agents because the technology is starting to get there, and a lot of conversations, people want this. So I went around to accounting firms here in Perth, and I said, basically, we want to build these AI accounting agents. Am I meant to be on another slide? No, let's say I am. And I say, look, I want to build these, but we don't want to build them in isolation. We want to build them within firms. So can we come in, build it for you? You get it, purpose build it for you. You don't have to pay for it. And then we'll take that, we'll commercialise that technology and take it out to the wider accounting industry. And the great thing is, as accountants, they're a profession. They actually like to help one another. So they don't look at it as like being competitive with others. They just want to be at the forefront of the innovation so they don't get left behind. And then I was like to them, look, I don't want us to like come in, build this, and we get all the financial benefit. I want you guys to invest into us. So I went out there and I convinced four accounting firms to invest into SavvyWise. And I told them, by the way, you know, we're a bit further along than we have been. It's a 20 million valuation. And where'd you pluck that number from, Drew? And I was just like, well, I just doubled the previous one. I just went, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to ask for money at a $20 million valuation. Some people are like, well, how do you back this up? I'm just saying, it's the supply and demand. It's somewhat being delusional. You just go out there and tell people what it is, and some people will come on board. So that's what we did. So from my experience, if anyone's like, oh, there's not enough capital around, I'm like, bullshit. There's plenty of capital there. You just go out and ask. But you've got to make sure you're actually developing something that people want. And that's the key thing. I think if you're finding it hard to raise capital, you're probably just not developing something people want, or you just don't have that conviction that you deserve it. No idea how that went with that slide. So, yeah, here we go, that's the slide. Medium-term thinking. As we're raising this capital, as a CEO, I've got to start thinking about the future as well as the present. Man, it's hard when you're trying to build a rocket ship and go super quick. So we've got the strategic alliances happening, deadlines start blowing out. We're always about customers first, and one of our things is like our price point is intentionally low because we don't want to price out small accountants compared to big, and it just actually, unfortunately, sort of incentivizes the bigger people to take the smaller price plan. But that's an our issue. We'll solve that. But you know, I've got to start thinking about the future as well as the present. So there's a lot of things going on. And to give an idea of that, for the crowdfunding, I actually started the implementation all the way back in January. So I was like, I'm pretty sure we want to do crowdfunding. And it was a strategic decision because I was like, I want as many accountants as possible to be our investors. If we don't do crowdfunding, we're capped at 50 investors. for the Corporation Act before we have to become a public company. So crowdfunding is the way to go. We also have this benefit called ESIG. We're an early stage innovation company, so everyone who invests, if they're eligible, they can get a 20% tax refund based on the amount they invest, and also a tax-free capital gains for the first 10 years, which is just the holy grail out there. And we only qualify because we've made too many sales this year. Whoopsie. We're only going to qualify by the 30th of June. So if we're doing the crowdfunding, we want to do it now. So I started the process here. Actually, I had Jürgen of Perth Video come out and help me with a live stream, and I queried him about crowdfunding because he had given a presentation many years ago about crowdfunding. So I started that process, and then we're over in Sydney, and I just randomly holy crap, On Market's here in Sydney. I arrange a meeting that day with them, and then a week later we start the process. So the whole process, we went live for the crowdfunding in the beginning of May, but I met with On Market at the 20th of March. So you've got to start at that point. And we basically were the last stage where we needed to pull the trigger to go and do that. So there's a lot of work that needs to happen. And at the same time, you're still trying to make sales. You're still trying to get the tech team to build. So there's so much going on. But it is achievable. So, and then we launched the crowdfunding, and it starts to go quite well. So immediately, I have to turn my mind as the CEO and go, okay, it looks like we're going to get the money come in. Let's start planning out what are we going to do with this money in the next 12 months. So one of the big things is as you're raising money, if you're trying to really scale quickly, is you've got to start spending that money. You've got to spend it wisely. And you also got to manage the cash flow appropriately. That's one critical thing that I've learned over the time is manage that cash flow. I almost made a fatal mistake by us having run out of money. We're already market leading. We've got the best product. We've got definitely the best team. We're moving the quickest. All our competitors, they started before us. We've flown past them. I'm like, we're going to win this. And then we almost ran out of money. So that was a critical issue that I had. I solved it, thankfully. But luckily, that's something I've learned, and I'm going to make sure that never happens again. So yeah, we're planning out a whole bunch of things to happen as we speak. So I don't know why Claude put the real unfair advantage on this one, but I just wanted to point out from my success point of view, SavvyWise, it all starts with family, making sure that if you're doing it, you're still going to have your family there that's loving you, and it's all going to be worthwhile. Critically important. I was actually speaking with a former CFO, COO, and CEO of a public company yesterday, who's looking to invest into SavvyWise, and he said, man, up until recently, I almost got divorced because I was working 100-hour weeks, and my wife said, if you keep this up, I'm going to start to look for someone else. And you don't want to be there, so you've got to make sure that you keep those things in mind. And I'm lucky I've got a tremendous wife who will always make sure I remember that. So speed, we're moving very quickly. If you want to build a big business quickly, speed is of the essence. Why are we winning? Well, one part of it is just my deep domain expertise. I've come from the industry, I know the industry. I've also done a huge amount in marketing and branding and sales. That's really helpful. And then Ags is unbelievable with its tech knowledge, and his, man, for a 24-year-old, and his tech leadership is sensational. So lucked in there. Focus, we're very focused on basically one key critical issue. We have grand visions to handle a lot of things, but it's always come back to just nail this one thing right very, very well. Incredible team, network. Here's a great place to start networking. Morning startup, keep that up. People go and ask me, what would you have changed early in your career if you could give yourself advice? And I'm always like, get out there, network. Take all those meetings, have those conversations with people. It's so valuable. That's like a snowball effect over time. And yeah, the cash. Don't run out of cash. That's the end of the slides. And I thought I would try and show you where we're up to with our current raise. So me one moment, people. I got it. Shit, mate. Man, they had to make it hard. Now you all got to know how to get to my dashboard. Oh, that's good news. Have a think about any questions while I'm doing this. God, I got one of the things wrong. Of course I did. Oh, Scott, I might need some help here.
Why don't you do some Q&A and I'll try that second link in?
Yeah, that one. Yeah, cheers.
Quick question, Drew. Thanks very much for the presentation. It was great. How do the shareholder relations work with crowdfunding going forward? I mean, typically at early stage, you end up with a shareholders agreement with those investors. Does On Market just sign up to that shareholder agreement, or do you just ditch the whole thing at that point?
Yeah, so it's an interesting one. Our lawyer actually said, put your shareholders agreement in your constitution. Right? And he said that because you actually have more legal protections when it's in the constitution. And this was even before the equity crowdfunding. So the constitution had to have a few clauses in there to allow for the equity crowdfunding. But basically with the equity crowdfunding, everyone comes in with ordinary shares, so everyone's got ordinary shares. The benefit for us is to date now, like we're going to end up raising more than we would have if we raised from the VC over time. We've diluted less, we've got more control, we don't have special provisions, so it's benefited us. And then you just, a few investors along the way will ask you some questions around the constitution and they'll help you draft it in the right way. But basically it goes up onto the crowdfunding and people have access to the constitution. They can read through it with the offer document and make up their own decision at that point.
Thanks. Quick question about your competition, because pretty much, anyone could start it, but anyone could start Amazon, but they don't, So how do you protect your business? How do you deal with your competition?
We go super quick, is our point. We're going quick, we're winning the market by moving the quickest, being the biggest in terms of branding, and so there's competition in terms of there's a few other people who've got similar startup idea. Okay, that's because it's a great idea. But our biggest competitor started in terms of newest startup, started 2 years ago, and we've already smashed past them in terms of product build, brand awareness and everything. So we're beating the other startups. They're not moving anywhere near as quick as us. And part of that is just because we've got an incredible team. And then the incumbents that are in the space, they're big organisations. Man, do they move slowly. So rather than people like, oh, what about, do you want to end up signing NDAs with people and getting your protections and stuff into place? And to me, I'm like, no, those things are just too distracting. Let's just move quickly, and we'll win this by having the best product as well.
All right, we've got time for one more question. All right, up the back there. Getting my cardio in for the day. Excellent.
Thank you for your great talk. And I noticed you are domain expert in accounting and you have dedicated software team. And I wonder, how do you deliver your software requirement to your software team? Like, how do you build something that can help you, but I guess the software team doesn't have the knowledge of accounting, right? How do you minimize the gap between here? Yeah,
it's a good question. So early on when I was thinking about the idea, I remember I was sitting here at Morning Startup, and then some MVP developers stood up and were like, oh, we could potentially build things. And I spoke to them about what potentially to build, and I was exploring building with an agency like that before I met Ags. But for me, and I'm pretty sure this is correct, is Ags really appreciated how much I understood the technology. I'm not a programmer at all, but I did a deep dive into trying to really understand what is required to build this technology, so I could have those conversations with him. And then Ags and the team they dedicate their time to really understanding the customer. And I took Ags into some of those validation meetings, and he's seen product demos and really heard from accountants firsthand of what they want, and he takes an incredible amount of value out of that, because he comes from those meetings going, oh, I was thinking this, but they're thinking that. That's really insightful. And that's another reason why we've got strategic alliances with firms now too, to build with them and have the tech team understand directly from accountants.
Thanks for that, Drew. Have you got any final physio, any exercises for us before we finish up?
No, but this is to show we're now on day 8 of the campaign. So the way equity crowdfunding works is basically you begin with a big bang, you get a lot of people come in early, then there's basically silence for about a week, and then you got a big bang at the end because the people go, oh, I need to make my decision. So we started off within 3 days, we were up to 1.2 million. So we had the big bang. It was fantastic. On Market told us it was pretty much the biggest $1 million opening raise in the last 12 months. So we've started incredibly well. Now we're in this stage where things are just trickling through. We had an investor come in last night for 10 grand, so things do still happen. And I'm having conversations with more of the sophisticated, wealthier investors now. And then we're hopefully have another big bang towards the end. I monitored a company that was doing a crowdfunding just as we were getting going, and they raised about $1 million in the last day. So hence the big bang that can come at the end. So right now we're getting close to having less than $1 million left to raise, and we've still got that almost $5 million of expressed interest. So we're pretty hopeful we'll get through this and sell out quite quickly. So thanks everyone for listening to me. Cheers.